reviews. Today I'm going to be slaughtering trailers for the year 2010, starting with Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2, the sequel to the movie Iron Man starring Robert Downey Jr., is supposed to take several years after now that he's officially announced that I am Iron Man, like he did in the end of the first one. Iron Man 2 is going to follow the story of the villain Whiplash, as well as continuing the saga of Tony Stark, whose best friend has been replaced by Don Cheadle. But this movie, the trailer looks real pretty. It's may potentially be a good movie, but I highly doubt that, because, once again, the writers did not read the comic book that the movie was based off of, and ended up saying, that sounds like a cool idea. A lot of things are cool ideas, like going to Antarctica. And now the second trailer. This one is Clash of the Titans, starring Sam Worthington. This movie is a remake of the classic Ray Harryhausen film Clash of the Titans, which was done with horrendous claymation special effects. This new one showcases the new digital special effects, which look really, really good. I'm actually looking forward to seeing this movie. The third trailer is Prince of Persia. Prince of Persia has no official trailer yet, actually, but it hopefully will be a very good movie. I've played all of the Prince of Persia games, the three from the Sands of Time trilogy, rather, and they all were really cool. But now that the films are being picked up by Disney, it means they probably had to cut out a lot of the violence that I liked from the games. And hopefully they'll do the time rewinding feature, although properly this time. A lot of films have tried time travel, but it hasn't really worked so well. But the Prince of Persia games were built around that effect because the entire series is built around you dying rather quickly. And instead of having you go from quick save to quick load over and over again so you can die 100 million times in the same trap, they gave you the ability to rewind time so you can undo all your mistakes. In the movies, I wonder how they're going to do this, because they've already announced 3 movies, one for each of the 3 games. The one coming out this year is Sands of Time, the first of the trilogy, and probably the best before the prince got all angsty and emo looking. And now to game trailers. First up is Bioshock 2, the sequel to the game Bioshock. I have to admit, Bioshock is one of my favorite games of all time, just because it had a story that was very compelling, and no matter how many times you played it, it stayed interesting. This one has a lot of the parts from the original game that I rather enjoyed, but the thing is, it looks like they took out some of it to add on a multiplayer feature, which is what they do in a lot of games. I know somewhere in this game there's going to be the story I fell in love with, the story of a guy named Jack, who goes to Rapture, where he finds out all sorts of things about his past. In this game, however, he plays a Big Daddy known as Subject Delta, the first official Big Daddy, who was paired with a little sister, and you go about trying to find her, even though you killed yourself. But I digress. The game is going to look really good, and it looks really pretty right now, but I'm just hoping that I don't have to go into a diving suit and scuba dive for hours to see if I can find the story I fell in love with. And now to Mass Effect 2, better known as Knights of the Old Republic 4. I didn't like the first one because it felt like it was ripping off of the KOTOR games, which I rather fell in love with, because it gave you the ability to influence the story for good or evil depending on small decisions you made. But however, Mass Effect stole everything from the Knights of the Old Republic games, probably because they're by the same developer, including some of the same alien designs, because that's not copyright infringement. But, again, I digress. This one, you continue your adventures as Shepard, who now is trying to stop some sort of insurrection. According to the trailer, it's kind of vague. You see a guy sitting in an office in front of a computer going, Shepard's assembling an impressive team, and going to a bunch of background about who these people he's assembling are, but they don't tell you anything about the gameplay. I know the cinematics are pretty because BioWare has released trailers for the Old Republic Online game that look really pretty, even though the game's probably going to be shit because it's an MMORPG. Mass Effect 2 has the potential to be something good, but I'm going to defer final judgment until I finally play the game, and at least all the way through, before I write it off as a massive failure the way Mass Effect 1 was. Why are you filming me on an angle?